signal get. Hello? Somebody is speaking? Okay. So at the n is equal to 10, our signal get means clean. The line is there. So number of animals equal to 9 equal to 10 when you are doing this. When you are doing complex behavioral study, so this is the G power software. By that also you can calculate effect size, alpha, beta, and number of groups based on that. So if you are not doing your sample size correctly, what will happen? If you are not determining your not doing randomization, you are overestimating the effect size by 20%. If you are not blinding the overestimating effect size by 11%. If you are not doing sample size calculation, you don't know what you are doing. I told you 80% of time you are wrong, and you also have to maintain of interest. So these are the guidelines. How do you report animal experiments? So how do you report your cell culture experiment? By following the ARRIVE guideline. This is basically mostly for animal experiment, but you can also take few from this, where you can also say about experiments which is so you have to always say ethical statement. You also always have to tell which are your experimental group and your cages, how they are being designed, your experimental procedure, how they have been done in detail. You have to say that if you have to explain your experiment in such a way that if you are doing experiment in Rohtak, even somebody want to do same experiment in New York or California, they should be in position to do it without calling you by just reading your paper. You have to write your experimental animal, housing and husbandry, sample size, everything, all of these things you have to report in your paper for cell line as well as zero. If you are not reporting, then good journal will not accept it, and it will not be reproducible, and it will be wasteful. So these things ARRIVE guidelines I can also share with Dr. Mahak, and so she can circulate to you. And now I'm coming to the last few slides, where you have to write what you write in very, very scientifically, not politically. Here I will read an example where we are writing great care and then going into great care. What do you mean by great care? Great care is a political term. So great care means no. We have to just specify. Great care means I will take care 10 hours in a day. Like that, you have to say. Define the technique and use to monitor animal response to the treatment, and in order to reduce the degree and duration of any suffering incurred to the minimum. Work with mice and cattle is not expected. How much severity it will cause, how much experienced observer you are. Experience does not mean if you are a BSc, MSc. Experience you are qualified. Like Haribon Seni is qualified so that he can observe and he can train you people. Usually we are doing 2-week course for the people who are doing for PhD and who are using animals so that we can call them experienced observer. Sometimes, like we say, we cannot observe pain in mouse. Everybody say, oh, mouse don't feel pain because he cannot express it. They cannot express it. They don't feel it. No, that's not true. Mice don't show the pain because they are free animals. They feel, they make noise. They are going to be eaten by some other animal. So in this, you have to be very experienced. How you will observe the animal? They will be nose posture like this, and their ears are getting straightened. That we call as this face observation. And there is a software available to tell you that mice this is this way. It means there is a problem. The experience observer has to be there, visual sign of experimental at regular interval in order to identify quickly animal requiring veterinary care. Animal failing to respond to treatment humanely. Humanely means that animal will not suffer. An experimental animal will be humanly killed at the end of the. Humanly means you will not let it suffer. Human and humanly is different. You all are human, but not human. Humanly means something will go out of way. Now, good example of writing animal experiment is that basis of experiment is surgery. You are specifying that you are doing surgery, not great care. And closure of middle cerebral artery, you are going to close what? Cerebral artery by surgery. Under anesthesia, you specify that you are doing anesthesia, not great care. This result in a mice stroke. What will happen after doing surgery? Stroke will happen, which manifests itself in hemiplegia, which constitutes the main factor and is classified as mean instability. So if you are doing stroke, if you are doing surgery, it will lead to hemiplegia. Feed in trach is still possible. Mice will take feed. Observation is possible at 90% of the animal and 24-hour and 10% of the empty dose. So pain plays a central role as per 6 to 8 hours and post-operative analgesic. So here you have specified everything. You have specified pain, you have specified analgesic, you have specified anesthesia, you have specified 90% of observation, and you have specified more or less everything. So it's not political, it is scientific. Nothing is left for the imagination. If I read this, I can really imagine my experiment. That's what I told you. If you are doing experiment in Rohtak, you should write and do in such a way that experiment can be done in New York and California. Another thing that how do you see animal experiment? For that there is ethics committee. No experiment can be done without the animal ethical committee approval, and no experiment can be done. You are saying though this is already published, and it is published in very high impact. Here you can see the screen. First says genomic response in mouse model poorly depict the human inflammatory disease. Second said genomic response in mouse model greatly mimics. So these are the finesse because you must be knowing the high impact journal, but both are saying different things. So for this, there is ethics committee which will read and which will also make sure that you don't do things only based on experiment. You have to do whatever your ethics committee approval says. So with this, I come to end of my experiment and my presentation. This is my detail. If somebody got confused because the time limit is less, and because it is online, you really don't know that who are the people listening. Interaction is not possible, so you keep on speaking and you get bored. So do let me know if anything I can do. And any question you have, and I would like to say thank you very much. Thank you very much, and that is the end. Dr. Meher, you can take over from here.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really an illustrated and remarkable lecture on the experimental designs. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable knowledge, sir. And thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule for this one. And now, I can request our participants to come up with the questions. Neha Yadav, please mute your mic. Neha Yadav, please mute your mic and the participants. Now you can unmute your mic one by one and can ask the questions from sir. Again, request the participants to please come up with questions.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Vijaypal, it was a very nice lecture. Around 17 students who have a workshop. We all need a lot of animals for our research work between pharmacological studies, drug bioavailability studies, effect of drugs, herbal drugs on different body organs, etc. Sir, but the trend is more towards not using animals for research.
Yeah.
So, sir, could you just throw some light on some validated methods which can be used as a substitute for animals and cosmetics as well, which are acceptable now in the Indian scenario as well?
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of debate. As I have told you in my slide, if you can see my second number of slide, that there is a lot of debate going on. But we are not still out debating. Now, coming to your that what are the alternative available? The best alternative nowadays is coming, it is 3D culture. But if you are doing experiment for regulatory purpose, your 3D experiment has to be recognized by OECD for your regulator. Otherwise, it's not useful. So I suggest you start your experiment first in the cell line. If you have the 3D, the best. But if it is not 3D, then you start with the 2D or your normal cell line. But make sure your cell line origin. If it is animal origin, then you should be very cautious to transmit to the human. Secondly, make sure nowadays that your cell line is mycoplasma free. Third is that make sure that your cell line is also same as it is cell line. Now there is a lot of genetic mutation they get established, and that genetic mutation cause a lot of variation. So first is the line, 3D culture, computer simulation, but ultimately you have to come to animal experiment. Animal experiment is completely not viable as of now. So first you start with cell culture, anal culture I have mentioned, thereafter you come to the animal experiment. If you have a very specific question, this pharmaceutical, this thing, that you please mail me, I can help you. I have so many database where I can search and find. Okay?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, and very nice question. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you so much, Sanjunanda ma'am. Now, you're waiting for the more participants to come up with the questions.
Okay, I'll invite some questions from my scholars at least, because this is more very relevant to their work. I'll request some questions. Sir, I have another query.
Yes.
Our scholars are, especially the ones who are not enrolled right now, the ongoing scholars, because these are the enrolled scholars are generally the pre-PhD coursework students. They are yet to begin their research work. But sir, my concern is for the students who are already enrolled and who have applied for various IAEC, they have applied for Form B, and some of them have also got approval from IAEC. But now in this COVID period, it's so difficult to procure them. So can you suggest some alternative ways which we can put in our protocols, we can modify our protocols, and we can get them approved, and which will really help them get almost equally dependable results?
Equally dependable is very, very difficult.
Or extrapolatable results, or
so we means extrapolative. The external validity should be very high, and that's very, very complicated. And you can say that if you do experiment. Now, I give example. Earlier, the practice was done by giving the urine to the tadpole and all that one, and assay used to. Then now it's done on cell line, so it's very easy. The external validity is complicated thing, but in this COVID issue, I request you to go to the PubMed, and in the PubMed, there is separate lecture I can take if you want. This is not simple. If you go to the PubMed and go to the medical subheading, okay, and then you put your keyword and you find animal use alternative. And whatever the result that you don't use PubMed as like it is, but you go to the PubMed and then go to the medical subheading, MESH. And in MESH you put your keyword, and thereafter save this one, and thereafter again put animal use alternative, and again you put a search strategy. You will get more or less 10 or 5-7 results. In that one you found which is most effective one and which is done more nice way. If you give me your key questions, I can send you directly the answer, that which is the most common, but it's very, very difficult to say as a journal with what are the real one. So their database is PubMed, a strategy is MESH. You have to use keyword and then animal use alternative, and whichever the best comes will be your nearest close, which can give you the extrapolatable result. But this session I can take, or I can tell you guide individually. So you take my WhatsApp number and just send. I can screenshot and send you the answer for your question.
So actually, this will be very helpful. I find it as a very helpful lead, because that way at least we can plan our research proposals which in future.
Yeah.
And we can modify the present ones based on this kind of field. Thank you so much, sir.
Is this Sanju Nanda speaking? Sanju Nanda?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So Sanju, you can get this from MMES at medical subheading, and thereafter you can also substantiate. You can also tell the ethics committee, because of COVID we cannot do this, and we are doing this, and this is available from such scientific PubMed database. But I can explain to you in detail if you contact me.
Maybe we'll have a session. We'll invite you for this, sir.
Yeah, no issue. I will be
Yeah,
happy
have
to
a
do
I
that.
would like to add here that Professor Sanju Nanda ma'am is Director of Pharmaceutical Department of
Okay.
I'm the HOD, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Not a problem. So I am also working today. I am working in FSSCI, but I have so much fun. Means I love teaching so much that I am doing it from here, and there is so much work. And recently my ma'am also came who gave me so much work that I have to do immediately. I'm so sorry there was a disturbance, but I'm very happy to help. Not a,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again, sir, for the elaborative replies to the queries
Okay.
of ma'am. And I don't think that research scholars are coming up with new queries. So I guess it's the end of the session and all of this.
Yeah, Dr. Mahek, actually these scholars are yet to start their work. So they might
Yes,
not
ma'am.
be feeling kind of pain the actual scholars are feeling. So I've asked on their behalf, and I'll definitely design a web seminar for them, especially on the concerns, and wish to invite Dr. Vijay Pal as well.
sure, not an issue. I will be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Agree with.
Okay.
Now it's the time to call off this meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, so much participants. And tomorrow we will be meeting at sharp 10 o'clock. So please join 5 minutes before 10. Avoid any unnecessary. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Vijay Parker.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Take care.
Thank you, Mahek. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanju Nanda ma'am.